Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something you probably interact with every single day, but rarely see for what it truly is. We are going to dive into the physical and environmental realities behind artificial intelligence. It's a wildly fascinating journey, and it's going to take us right out of the theoretical future and drop us squarely into the very real, very physical present.
To kick things off, consider this scenario for a second. Sasha Luccioni, she's a leading researcher studying AI's societal impacts. Well, she recently got what she called the weirdest email of her career from a complete stranger. And this email came with a very stark, very intense warning. It basically told her that her work in AI was going to end humanity. Right? Will AI end humanity? It's that dramatic, sensationalized question we literally see plastered across news headlines almost every single day.
We are constantly bombarded with these sci-fi doomsday scenarios, the singularity, rogue computer systems, basically the plot of every blockbuster sci-fi movie. But Sasha makes a really profound point here. Fixating on theoretical, future existential risks is actually a massive distraction. It totally distracts us from what AI is doing to our planet right now in incredibly tangible ways, specifically its massive energy consumption and its impact on climate change.
Okay, let's get right into it with Section 1, AI's hidden climate cost, or as I like to call it, the fact that the cloud is actually made of metal and plastic. It's time to face a pretty hard truth. AI doesn't just live in some magical, invisible vacuum up in the sky. It lives on vast servers. Servers that are housed in massive data centers, running processors around the clock that require absolutely colossal amounts of electricity and cooling. To really wrap our heads around this physical toll, let's look at a very concrete example. The Bloom model. Created by about 1,000 researchers from all over the world, Bloom is an open, transparent, large language model. It was built from the ground up with a heavy emphasis on ethics and transparency, which actually makes it the perfect baseline case study for us to examine today. Because the creators of Bloom were so incredibly transparent, Sasha Luccioni's team could measure exactly what went into creating it. And the results? Honestly, they were staggering. Just training this one single AI model took enough energy to power 30 average homes for an entire year. Think about that for a second. Just the training phase, one single AI model, 30 homes, an entire year. Now, all that immense energy consumption emitted 25 tons of carbon dioxide straight into our atmosphere. To put that kind of abstract number into perspective, that is the exact equivalent of driving an average car around the entire circumference of the planet. 5 separate times. So the absolutely crucial question we have to ask ourselves is this. Are we spending all this energy just to tell a knock-knock joke? Every single time someone asks a large language model to write a funny poem or draft an email or, tell a simple joke, it draws from that massive planetary toll. Each query, no matter how trivial it might seem to us on our phones, has a literal physical cost to the planet. Now, brace yourselves because the reality actually gets even more concerning. Bloom's emissions were huge, right? But similar models out there, like GPT-3, emit 20 times more carbon than Bloom. And the real issue here? The major tech companies aren't exactly rushing to disclose their data, which means what we're seeing with Bloom is just the tip of a rapidly melting iceberg. And the industry definitely isn't slowing down. The prevailing trend in AI right now is heavily leaning towards bigger is better. Over the last 5 years, these models have absolutely ballooned, growing 2,000 times in size. Simply switching out a smaller, more efficient model for a larger one just to do the exact same task, like telling that knock-knock joke, emits 14 times more carbon. 14 times, just for using a bigger tool for a simple job. That brings us to Section 2, tracking impacts with code carbon, or measuring the melting iceberg.
So how do we fix this? Well, enter a fantastic tool called Code Carbon. It's an open source tool that estimates the energy consumed and the carbon emitted by computing systems. Sasha Luccioni actually helped create this. It's specifically designed to finally shine a giant spotlight into the black box of AI's energy usage, empowering developers to see exactly what their code is costing the Earth right in real time. How does it actually work? Well, it's remarkably straightforward. Step 1, Code Carbon runs right in parallel to the AI training code. It just operates seamlessly in the background. Step 2, as the AI trains, the tool estimates the physical hardware's energy consumption. And step 3, it calculates the total carbon emitted based on that energy use. It's a really clear, simple process that generates absolutely vital impact data. So why does having this precise data matter so much?
because it allows developers to make informed, powerful choices. For instance, if they know the numbers, they can actively choose to deploy their AI models on renewable energy grids instead of grids that rely heavily on fossil fuels. That one choice can drastically reduce their emissions. The old saying is true: you can't fix what you can't measure. But with this, we can finally measure it. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, Data-Driven AI Regulation, translating data into guardrails. As researchers are quick to point out, legislators who really need concrete information to write good laws can use these tracking tools to develop new regulation mechanisms and governance for AI. The crucial takeaway here is this: government officials simply cannot regulate what they cannot measure. Bringing transparency to AI's carbon footprint isn't just a nice-to-have bonus, it is a fundamental prerequisite for effective lawmaking. Ultimately, this kind of tracking data empowers three distinct groups to build a much better ecosystem. First, companies. With hard data in hand, they can intentionally choose to build and use sustainable models. Second, legislators. They can finally write data-backed, effective laws and governance. And third, users. People like you and me. We can demand transparency, choosing to only interact with AI models that we can actually trust, not to blindly damage the planet. We are currently standing at a crossroads, facing a choice between unchecked AI expansion on one hand and regulated, sustainable guardrails on the other. Now, some people view regulation as this big obstacle to innovation, but it's not. It is a critical requirement. AI is rapidly being woven into the very fabric of our lives. It's in our cell phones, our search engines, our smart appliances. We desperately need those guardrails to ensure technological advancement doesn't come at the ultimate cost of our environment. And that leaves us with a vital question to end on today. We are building the road as we walk it. So, which direction will we choose? The trajectory of artificial intelligence is not a done deal, not by a long shot. It is entirely up to us. We have to collectively decide to stop getting distracted by hypothetical doomsday scenarios and start addressing AI's tangible, physical impacts right here, right now. The tools exist. The data is waiting for us. The choice of which direction to walk, well, that's ours.